voices crackle through static glow, Morse code tapping in the night, underneath the stars so bright, connecting folks from far and wide, waves in the air they provide, call signs echo through the ether, let's get closer, let's go deeper. Amateur radio roundtable so fine, join the chat and realign. From HF to VHF, we're all here, let's make the distance disappear. Twist the knob, find a friend.
All right. Well, guys, you are tuned in to Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio, amateur radio, shortwave, electronics. We cover a lot of things like that. Hey, if you're out there listening on world-famous WBCQ International Shortwave Station, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com, and tell us where in the world you are, how you're hearing the station tonight. We'd love to hear from you. Also, we'd like to have you subscribe to our channel, but we're on so many places. I'm not sure how you subscribe. We're on x.com streaming live tonight. We're on our YouTube channel streaming live. We're on w5kub.com streaming live. And I forgot. Oh, and we're on our Facebook group of 14,000 people called W5KUB, and it's also streaming live tonight. So somewhere down there may be a subscribe button. And if you're on YouTube, we're streaming live there on YouTube. You can find us a lot of places. Just look for that subscribe button, hit it, and if you would, hit the notification button, hit the like button. It helps us out a whole lot to get our show out to a lot of people that are just kind of surfing around looking for, subject matter like electronics or, shortwave or ham radio. So please do that. We're glad to have you. Hey, and if all those places where our video show is on is not enough for you, you can always find us on just about any podcast carrier like iTunes, iNet Radio. All those are out there. And again, if you're listening on one of the audio podcast carriers out there, send us an email to tom@w5kub. I like hearing from you guys. You guys are awful quiet out there. All right. So, hey, tonight we've got, I think, an interesting show tonight. We're going to talk about Parks on the Air. And specifically, we're also going to talk about one coming up here, the Mississippi Parks on the Air, in just a few minutes. So we've got our guest on here with us tonight. Brett's with us, and Glenn is kind of with us. I think he's taking a remedial computer course somewhere, trying to, I just won't get into it. I could talk a long time about that. Okay. Well, look, let's just check and see who's in the room tonight, and we're gonna start with Brett up there. And Brett, how you doing, man? You're out in Wyoming, right?
Good evening, Tom, and we're having our usual season that they don't have everywhere called Sinter, which is summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter. That's really what we have. We don't really have a spring. And this week, it's kind of the summer side of that. It's been 60 degrees, very pleasant outside, and I've been enjoying the good weather. And I've also been doing some work in the shop, still continuing to work on that recapping job. And I bought a really cool little gadget that I can show off now or later in the show.
Okay. Let's look at it.
This is a little device that I found on Amazon, and it is a circuit board holder. And what
Yeah.
it is kind of a little vise that you clamp around the circuit board. The edge of the circuit board goes in here, and you adjust it so it's nice and tight and it holds it steady. And then your circuit board can rotate. You
That
can
is
turn
cool.
these are pivots, and so you can rotate it to the exact angle that you want, and it makes it very convenient when you're working on a circuit board to desolder, to resolder, to get everything just right. So this has been making my job a lot easier as I've worked on printed circuit boards. I highly recommend it. I've only been using it for about a week, and I already highly recommend it.
I like that.
Well, all right, that's pretty cool. I got one of those clamp-on vices that you can aim different directions, you know, and that's what I use to hold it. But that's pretty good. You can just kind of flip it and spin it, you know. It's all right. Well, good, man. You got that at the Hamfest this weekend, right?
Actually, I ordered that. That came in as an
Oh.
Amazon order, but it was
Okay.
inspired by seeing one at a Hamfest. So I
Oh,
guess
okay.
it counts as a Hamfest thing.
All right.
I did also go to a very good Hamfest called Larkfest in Longmont, Colorado, near Boulder, and that was a lot of fun. And I have video showing off some of the things that I saw there, including a lot of about 8 minutes worth of scanning the tables at the flea market.
Okay. Well, looking forward to seeing any pictures or video you have from your ham radio Hamfest visit, I guess, this past weekend. All right, well, let's jump down here and let's check out with Glenn there and see if he made it. I didn't know if he was going to make it, but Glenn and I both were we were in Corinth this weekend, and you guys may know we've had that severe weather come right through here for the last 4 days, and we had to drive back in like I don't know, Glenn. Ours was like we were driving through the ocean. What was yours like?
Yes. Actually, the drive from here to Memphis, I was just a couple of minutes behind you.
Yeah.
The drive from here to Memphis was not bad. Swung by the old house to check on the pool a little bit and stuff. But from Memphis to Little Rock, it was horrible. Just rain, heavy at times. And it was just really nasty. But you know, Tom, it's a good thing that we talked them into doing the drawing an hour early, because at 4:00 they were getting tornado warnings there in Corinth area.
Oh, well, they were
So
all up
we-
and down
we
through
got lucky.
Arkansas too, just right
Yeah.
across the river here. So
Yeah, they were. Fortunately, those were behind me at that point.
yeah,
But yeah, it was rough. It was pretty much, there's a lot of flooding. As a matter of fact, the Arkansas Department of Transportation has a video that's gone viral of a guy being towed by a jet ski on the easement of the interstate.
I'll have to
So
pull
it
that up
was-
and look at it, man. A jet ski.
It
huh?
was it was a little crazy, but I
Yeah.
made it home okay. And just got news today that there's a potential contract on my old house, which means that problem's about to solve itself, we hope.
All right. Well, we hope so.
So won't have to keep going back and forth to Memphis.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, hey guys, we've got Brian and Susan Dudley with us from Sherman. Was that Sherman, Mississippi? I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're not seeing Susan. She's cut off here. She's gonna have to.
It'll be okay.
Well, all right. Some people. You're not in the witness protection program, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, if any of you guys are, you need to tell me now so I can kind of, blank your face out. Okay. Well, anyway, you can get in the camera if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of people like that. I know my wife is the same way, and I don't particularly like getting on here too. I mean, well, look at Glenn. He's got a face for radio. I mean, look at that. All right.
Your
All
day
right,
is
well,
coming,
Hey,
Tom.
tell us.
I'm going to sick Ed on you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, Brian. So you got up to the Hamfest this weekend. Now, I didn't see your
Yes.
wife. Did she come up here?
Oh, yes, she was there.
I was there. I think I was helping with the testing session when he was talking with you.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Well, it was a nice little Hamfest, and I'm a little disappointed. I didn't win anything this time. And you know what? Glenn didn't win either. I mean, it's kind of unusual that they didn't put our name for at least a gift certificate of ARL or something. I mean, oh well.
Yeah, I was surprised that one of us didn't win, but it happens.
Yeah, okay. So, Brian, did you or Susan win anything?
Oh, no.
No, we just made the donation. That's all.
Yeah. Wow, it sounds like it might have been rigged. Nobody on here won anything out of all of us. I mean, hey, there wasn't that many people there, so, I mean, I was sure I was going to win something, Oh, well. Okay, well, I know you want to talk about Parks on the Air tonight. We've got two things going on here about Parks on the Air. One is you're going to tell us a little about the Mississippi Parks on the Air that's coming up, I guess, real quick.
This Saturday.
This Saturday, okay. And
Yeah.
we'll talk about that first, and then we haven't had anybody on here in a long time, just talking about in general Parks on the Air. And I think you've got maybe some pictures or can talk a little about Parks on the Air.
Sure can. Parks on the Air has reinvigorated some ham radio operators that
Okay.
have they'd quit doing it. They got tired of everything, and Parks on the Air started a few years back, and all of a sudden they're reinvigorated. They're going out and they're participating. This Saturday, Mississippi is hosting their state Parks on the Air. Our goal is to get every park in the state activated. And we've got a sign up page for that. And you can get to, is that his?
Yes.
JCMS
Let's see.
ARA. Juliet, Charlie, Mike, Sierra, Alpha, Romeo, Alpha, dot, Oscar, Romeo, Golf.
Okay.
And that's Jerry Davis down in Port. He's been handling the computer side of this.
That's the,
And that is the Jackson County Amateur Radio Association.
Okay. Well, that's good. And
Yeah. But Parks on the Air for Mississippi, the statewide activation is going to be April 12th, 2025, 8 a.m. to 5:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah. And our goal is to activate as many parks as we can during the day. If you've never done Parks on the Air, you can do it as an activator. You can do it as a hunter. As a matter of fact, while we were waiting for this to get started, I reached out to two parks that were activated out west and worked what's called the night shift on that. And you can go to Parks on the Air, POTA.app, and download the app to your phone. And that's got a spotter's guide. It also gives you a lot of information about Parks on the Air, how to get started, how to get registered. And the beauty of it is you can be an activator or a hunter. If you're a hunter, you don't even have to submit a log. We do recommend that you put it, we do recommend you put it on QRZ because a lot of the activators will send you a verification request
or logbook of the world.
or logbook of the world,
Mm-hmm.
whichever one you use.
I hear a lot of activity, people Parks on the Air, and I guess it's mostly low power, isn't it? I mean, I guess people can't take an amplifier, or I guess a 100-watt radio would be
Yeah,
would be normal.
you'll see everything out there from QRP rigs, ICOM 7300s out there, Yaesu 857s running out there. We personally run an ICOM 705 with a Zygu 125 amp tuner on it. I'm one of these people. Life's too short for QRP,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll catch flack for that. I know, but
That's okay. I'm kind of the same way here. Um,
yeah.
if you
But
can run some power, you run it.
well, that's it. And we've got a lot of guys. They'll run CW out there. FT4, FT8 modes are accepted as well, and we've done group activations for Parks on the Air. And let's see, we've got some pictures.
You'll have to give me a second.
If you're good with that, we'll pull a couple of
Yeah.
pictures up.
All right, let's do that. You want to do your share screen again?
Yeah, give me just a second.
All right.
But yeah, our Area 51 radio group gets out and we'll do a group POTA activation every couple of months. And of course, we have food involved.
Got to
Yeah,
have food involved. Yep.
That's mandatory. And we'll go out to one of the local parks, Trace Lake, Davis Lake, Tom Bigby State Park, which is all local to us here in Tupelo area. And go out, we'll set up 3 or 4 radios, and you'll activate. And once you make 10 contacts, you're considered activating the park.
Okay.
So we'll make usually 10, 15 contacts and then pass the mic off to somebody else. And what about those right there? No
Yeah.
pictures down below where she's hunting.
Well, that's okay.
But it's something that you can do as a family, as a group. She and I go out. I'm on the mic and she's on the logbook. We go
Well,
through.
I noticed, I mean, you can make quite a number of contacts pretty fast. So you need somebody to do that logbook.
You can, and she'll sit there and I'll be working a pile up and she'll go, slow down, take a minute, breathe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To get me, because I think one of the best ones we've done is 169 in under 2 hours. And that's on sideband. So we went up to Holcut, Mississippi, and sat up above the Tom Bigby waterway and did that one.
Okay.
There we go. You seeing
Let's
this?
No, I'm not.
No, I haven't shared yet.
Okay,
yet.
we're getting that.
Now I'm seeing it.
All right, we're set up there at actually Tom Bigby State Park
Yeah.
under one of the little pavilions.
I don't know if I'm gonna have to.
And of course, at all these parks, you always got trees, I guess, where you can get an antenna up. What kind of antenna are you using? Maybe an end-fed or something?
We started off using a infed with a 49-to-1 balun on it, about 62 feet long up in a tree, and had fantastic results with that. And since then, we've gone to a Chelegance vertical. I'll show it to you here in just a second.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic. It deploys in about 10 minutes.
How tall is it?
17-foot whip on it. And it's marked up and down the whip for the different bands. You have to add a coil for 40 and 80.
Okay.
Other than that, like if you're working 20 meters band, no coil is required. You just
Right.
put it to the mark and boom, you've got a nice 1 to 2, 1 to 1.3 SWR on it.
Yeah, 17 foot's a quarter wave on 20, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. There's one of our group activations. Hang
We'll be
on.
in just a
We'll be in
second.
just a second.
I
What's
lost
the
what I was
what's the
gonna do.
maximum power on that antenna?
Sorry, Watts.
150, I think.
Okay. Someone in our chat room was inquiring about that from New Jersey. I guess they want to use it up here in New Jersey.
DX Engineering.
Bill Brown was wanting to know, and what was the name of the vertical again?
Oh, hang on a second, and I will hold it up for you.
Maybe you will.
It was the MC750 portable HF. I guess
Mhm.
that's ground plane antenna. Is that what that stands for? GP?
I have no idea.
Yeah. MC750 portable HF
Yes.
ground plane antenna. There you go, Bill.
Yep.
Bill's
DX
probably,
Engineering.
yeah, he's going to order one tonight.
It,
We will open it up just a little bit and see what we got.
Raise a little higher. There you go. Okay. Okay. Cool.
It's got 4 radials to it.
Yeah. Now, is the antenna, is the vertical piece of the antenna, is it actually a wire? Oh, it's a 17-foot mast. Okay. That's pretty
Yes,
common.
17-foot
That's
mast.
a pretty common mast that expands, or what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word?
Telescope?
Yeah, that's telescoping.
Telescope.
That's closer. That's closer. Telescoping. There you go.
There's the ground spike,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and that's where your radials will plug in.
All right, you already made a sale there. Bill, WB8ELK is ordering one tonight.
They are wonderful.
Yeah.
We have hit contacts all over the world on this vertical.
I'm going to share one more screen with you guys.
Yeah.
That was not the one I wanted to share, but let's see if I can make it work.
But that's the fun of Parks on the Air. You can, if you can't get out one weekend, you can sit at home and do it, and be a hunter versus an activator. You got to have both.
Yeah, that's one of the I guess one of the most popular activations or whatever out there, POTA. So it's pretty good. I don't know if you ever heard of, or if you ever worked the Walmart parking lots. Did you ever do that?
No, I don't know about that.
Have you never heard of that? There was, for a while there, for a year or two, there was the Walmart parking lots. The people were activating every Walmart parking lot.
That's a new one on me.
But I think it's probably died off. But the POTA is really popular. You got a lot of people on it. I can turn the radio on any day, and I hear people all the time activating places.
Yeah, we just added 18 new parks for the state of Mississippi this year.
Uh-huh.
And so we're up to 133 parks total. And that includes the parks that are done by Mississippi Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, as well as wildlife management areas.
Some state lakes, and then state parks and some historical sites.
So it's technicians, and that's one of the things that we're getting our technicians involved with, because they can go out and work 10 meters.
Uh-huh.
And right now, 10 meters is busting, especially with Parks on the Air. The band's open most days,
Yep.
and they're wearing it out.
All right, so we've got come this weekend. Now, by the way, we've got a Hamfest this weekend in Memphis, and Glenn and I will talk about it a
The
little
Free
later.
Fest.
Free Fest is up here, but we'll still have some time to work some Parks on the Air here if it goes till almost 6 p.m. So the guidelines are on this site. Let's see. If operating Mississippi State Park, all rules and regulations of the Mississippi State Parks will be followed. So, again, did you give out a link a while ago to find things about the rules? Or would that?
Yes.
The POTA app.
Okay, the POTA app will get you there. Okay.
Yes, the POTA app will get you there, but on this flyer that I've got up here, it will also, the QR code will get you to the Jackson County amateur radio group site, and it's got all the information for the state and how to submit the logs just for Mississippi, also to Jerry Davis, because he will be issuing certificates for hunters and activators.
Okay, that's good. Now, when you guys are out doing POTA, do you have non-hams come up to you and say, "What in the world are you doing?"
Oh yes, all the time, and then it has also got people interested in ham radio. Oh, I didn't know you could do that,
Uh-huh.
and they'll show up to one of our meetings. We've run some licensing classes before, and they've showed up for that. And we've licensed people simply because we talked to them while we were doing POTA activation.
All right, so there's
And that's
133. There's 133 Mississippi state parks. Is that right?
And they're not all state parks. There's 153 POTA
133.
entities.
Okay.
And some of them are state parks, some of them are state fishing lakes, some of them are wildlife management areas.
Yeah. See, I see on this flyer, it also mentions 25 of the MDWFP state parks. I'm not sure what that
Correct.
means. I don't know who
That's
that is.
Mississippi Department of Wildlife and Fisheries.
Uh-huh.
They,
Okay.
they're the ones that run the Mississippi state parks. They control those areas.
Okay. Well, have you had any problems with like park rangers or anybody that you know of in any of these activations where maybe they came up and said, "What are you doing? I don't know if you should be here or not"?
They've come up and asked us what we were doing, but they've been very, very supportive about this. And, you know, we're careful. We pick our trash up.
Yeah.
We do not damage the trees or anything like that. You know, if we put a wire up in a tree, we're very careful about that.
Yeah.
I know on some of the federal parks, they're very picky about putting stuff up in the trees and putting spikes in the ground.
Wow.
So a lot of times you have to work that from your car. But no, as a matter of fact, we were up in Tennessee activating a park up there, and the park ranger stopped and visited with us, who happened to be a ham also.
Oh, yeah.
And it was real interesting. We made a contact with him, and he was from Mississippi. And then back when North Carolina had all their flooding and stuff a few months back, he gave me a call and he needed some ham radio help.
Oh, okay.
So we helped him out doing that. And that's one of the things that POTA teaches you is how to deploy your radio in the field. So we're having so many natural disasters, and they're calling for ham radio operators out there. This lets you know how to set your gear up using a tree, using a portable vertical antenna, what it will do, what it won't do, and how to work off of a battery.
Yeah.
And it gets you out of the shack.
Well, all right. This is interesting. We haven't had a Parks on the Air segment in a number of years here, and it's good to bring this back up and talk about it. We've had a lot of people I know are interested in this. Anything else you'd like to say? Have we covered most of the stuff about POTA?
I think that's about it. And then for your listeners, like I said, it's April 12th. This Saturday, we'll start at 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time and run to 5:59. I know we are going to be activating probably a minimum of 2 parks. We'll go activate for an hour or so, hour and a half, and then we'll move to another park and activate another one as well.
All right, and it looks like here the app is, they're going to need the app really. It's going to give them a lot of information.
It is.
The app will give them information. If you want to just be a hunter and get started in Parks on the Air, go to the app. It'll tell you how to register. And because we need hunters, we need people out there looking. And if you go through the Parks on the Air website and app, you'll see all the certificates that you can win actually be awarded for activating parks, hunting a certain number of parks, talking to somebody what they call the late shift, which is after 6 o'clock in the evening, and making contact with those people. Like I say, we reached out and had 2 contacts real quick this evening at about 7:30.
And it's not just in the United States. It's growing internationally. There's parks in Great Britain that participate. There's parks in Canada that participate.
Oh, okay.
The Canadians are very active in that. We get a lot of Canadian contacts.
All right. Well, good. All right. Well, listen, you guys, thank you for coming on here and being with us tonight. And you're welcome to stick around with the rest of the show and watch or yell if you see something you like, or if we say something wrong, you can correct. If Glenn, wait, let me rephrase that. If Glenn says something wrong, you can yell in here and you can correct him. Okay. So we're gonna go on and move on. We've got some 2 different Hamfests we're gonna review here. One is I've got video of the Corinth Hamfest, which you were there, and we're gonna show it. You may even be in the video there. And let's see what else. Yeah, we're gonna do that. And hey, I just want to make a quick. I want to make a quick announcement. I'm getting people are asking me to be friends on Facebook. I don't use my personal Facebook group very often at all, and it's just for a small group of family. So don't get mad if I don't let you be a friend of mine on my Facebook group. But let me say this: I have another Facebook page group, and it's called W5KUB. There's where you can get in contact. I'm on that thing just about all day, every day. So if there's no place to friend me there, but you can actually join W5KUB. You can private message me there. You can do all this kind of stuff. So I just didn't want 14,000 people in my personal Facebook. I just didn't want to have to deal with that, Anyway. Join.
Real quick.
Yeah.
If people wanted some additional information, they can go to our Radio Club Facebook page, which is Area 51 Radio Group Mississippi. They can search us, and the flyer and upcoming Mississippi events is always posted on that page.
All right. Now, I've got to ask this question. Why Area 51? This may turn into the rest of the show. I don't know, man. Why Area 51?
Okay. Several years back, there was 3 of us looking, my wife, myself, and Chuck Moffitt, N5VGK, were looking to start our own radio group. We looked for about a year for a location. We couldn't rent, we couldn't buy, nothing. So behind TV9, the TV station in Tupelo, there was an area that a gentleman used to develop radio equipment and TV equipment and did a lot of testing down there. And nobody really knew what he was doing, so it was called Area 51. Well, we went down there to see who was in the building, and it so happened that the Christian TV station, WEPH, had the building, and Susan knew the manager, and she has been willing to share space with us. And so we have our meetings in one of their areas and as part of their community service. But that building was always called Area 51 to the locals. So that's how we developed Area 51.
All right. Well, I knew there had to be some story behind it there. I was thinking we were going to get into aliens and all kinds of stuff here, but okay. Well, hey, thanks for being with us.
All right, we're going to skip out. Thank you all very much.
All right. Good to see you again. All right. Goodbye.
Good night.
All right. Let's see what's going on here. I shouldn't do this during the show, but I'm going to do it. I got to answer this.
I did mine during the break. He.
Yeah, yeah. This is we're having some bases printed up for our Pico balloon launches that are being built under NASA guidelines, and they were printing them, in the print. What kind of printer am I talking about?
3D printer or
What are the printers? What are the printers that you put the weed eater line in, man? Come on, help me here.
that's a 3D printer.
You got another name?
But are they doing the circuit board itself?
No, it's not a circuit board. It's the platform that the cells and stuff will
Okay.
actually mount to.
Then yeah, that's just an extruding 3D printer.
Yeah, yeah. Mark Pupo and his son are working on that, and they got these secret NASA plans with all this different shapes and stuff to make this thing really light, So that's what we're waiting on right there.
And then you're going to sell them to Elon Musk and just sell the whole show out to him?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. All right. Let's do this real quick. Let's take a quick break, and then we will review some Hamfest. Brett, you'll be able to go first here. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. ICOM's amateur radios are the gold standard for ham radio enthusiasts, combining cutting-edge technology, unmatched reliability, and user-friendly design. Whether you're chasing DX, experimenting with digital modes, or laying a local net, ICOM radios deliver crystal clear performance and seamless connectivity. ICOM's IC7760 is the pinnacle of the base station excellence for amateur radio enthusiasts. Designed to deliver unmatched performance, the IC7760 features state-of-the-art technology, exceptional RF clarity, and an intuitive interface, all housed in a sleek and durable design. The base station features a separate remote control head and RF deck, providing enhanced flexibility for installation. Place the RF deck closer to the antenna feed point, freeing up space on your desk. You can also connect the control head to the RF deck through your home network, enabling remote operation from just about anywhere in your home without needing a PC. For more information about ICOM's amateur radios, please visit icomamerica.com/amateur.
There's parks in Canada that participate.
Oh, okay.
The Canadians are very active in that. We get a lot of
What do I got
Canadian
going
contact.
here? I got something going. All right, well, good. Let's see. All right, well, listen, you guys, thank you for coming on here and being with us tonight. And you're welcome to stick around with the rest of the show and watch.
All right,
or yell
let me
if you
see
see
where that
something you
link is
like,
coming
or-
in.
There it is. You can correct. Okay. All right. So, guys, we before we let Brett get into his Hamfest, just a couple of quick stories. We had a good time at Corinth, and I wish I'd recorded this. We were talking, somehow we got on a subject of a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we got on a subject of Rubik's Cube there with one of the guys there, and I don't know if that was his son, the little young guy was his son, or just visiting here. But anyway, I said, well, I saw on YouTube there's a simple way to solve the cube, Rubik's Cube, and supposedly the guy showed it on there. You take the top, you turn it 2 times, you turn the side 2 times, and you just repeat 6 times, and that's supposed to fix the, get the Rubik's Cube all the same colors everywhere. Well, they found a Rubik's Cube and brought it over to our booth, and I tried it, and it didn't work. And
Rubik's Cube that doesn't work?
well,
How's that
it didn't.
possible?
It didn't. I didn't get all the colors on each side. So this little boy, I don't know, man. I mean, he was a short little guy. I don't know how old he was. wasn't real old.
No.
He looks up and he says, "I can solve it." He said, "I can solve it." I'm like, okay. So we give it to him. He says, "It's just 3 algorithms. It's simple." Okay. So he's twisting and twisting, and in 1.5 minutes, it took him a long time. In 1.5 minutes, he had that Rubik's Cube solved. And he
But in
talked
fairness to him, that was a tiny, tiny Rubik's Cube, and it was difficult to turn. So
it was probably about an inch square. It wasn't big, man. But his fingers were little too, so maybe that helped out. I don't know. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. The cube was so small, my fingers were so big. That's my excuse.
My hands are too fat for Rubik's
Anyway, he
Cube.
says there's only like 3 steps, 3 algorithms to solve this, and I know. And man, he did it right there in front of us, and that was so cool. I wish I had recorded that. I was going to try to have him on the show tonight and have a Rubik's Cube challenge between me and him, and hey, that would have been cool, man. Do a split screen, have him working on one side.
It would have
me
been
on the
really
side,
cool.
Or you can have Glenn working on the other side.
Lord, we'd still be here.
I failed, so it had to be somebody else. Anyway, that'd been cute. I said, "What do you do Tuesday night about 8 o'clock, man?" He says, "I'm getting ready for bed." So I kind of blew that, man. But that would have been a fun segment there. All right. And I had trouble, Glenn, I don't know if you did, I had trouble getting his name. I had to ask him his name 3 or 4 times.
It was like incidents or something like that.
I said, "What's your name?" He said,
it was a very unusual name.
Yeah, he says, "Increase." I said, "What?" I didn't get it. What's your name? Increase.
That's it, or something
Increase.
like that, yeah.
And he had a shirt on, and it had writing on it that says, "Increase."
That's right.
Increase to something, and he had to point to his shirt, and the word was increase. I've never heard that name, for anyone, but his name was Increase. Maybe someone in the chat room probably has heard that before, but I must try. Dad, if you're watching tonight and you can let him stay up late one night, I'd love to do a split screen and get him and Glenn working a Rubik's Cube at the same time. Oh, man.
Not me. I am not the Rubik's Cube guy.
Yeah. All right.
Someone in the chat room is asking what's our take on the RAC's board decision not to participate in Dayton. I'm not familiar with the RAC.
The
to begin with, so I have no idea.
What is the
Radio Amateurs of Canada? No. That's not even worth stepping into that mess.
I don't know. I don't know. And there's a lot of also discussion.
Taking it.
There's a lot of discussion on other ham radio YouTubers about this FCC deal. You may have not seen it, Glenn, but it's called Delete, Delete, Delete. And they're talking about overhauling the FCC and changing all this stuff. And everybody is talking about how it's going to affect ham radio. And they asked me if I wanted to participate, and I said no, because nobody knows how it's going to affect ham radio.
Exactly.
So I don't want to get in there and start, saying stuff that is wrong, and, we start getting everybody a little
Well, no
upset.
matter what you do, if you take a side on that, the way things are going these days, you're going to anger 50% of your audience. So it's like, no, you can get mad at us for not taking a stance, but that's your bag, not mine.
Well, I could get on here and say, what I've heard is that they're going to cancel all ham radio licenses in Arkansas. But, that would not be
And that's
correct.
actually going to stop me from getting on the air?
Well, yeah.
No, I'll just find somebody's remote SDR and work from there.
Okay. All right, let's get back to it here. Let's get back to it. Brett, what do you got going there, man? Let's talk Hamfest. Take it away, man.
Okay. Well, this weekend I was at Larkfest, the Longmont Amateur Radio Club Hamfest, and I had a lot of fun there. There was a ton of interesting stuff in the flea market. There was a presentation where where they had Elmers come in by Zoom and answer questions from the crowd, and that was a lot of fun as well. I they said they wanted YouTube Elmers to go in there, and so I thought, well, maybe I qualify as a YouTube Elmer, so I went and sat in and answered a couple of questions. There were people there that you might recognize, like Dave Kasler was there, um, and a few other people who were regular YouTubers, and it was a lot of fun. But one of the main reasons why I go to Hamfest is the flea market, and I've got some video here, about 8 minutes worth of things that I saw at the flea market. So I'll change my screen here and hit play, and we can look at some of what was there at Larkfest. So here goes. Well, these radios here, which we just passed, we can go back to them, were Alinco UHF only mobile radios. They're very good ones, but they're UHF only. So those sat there on the table for a long time. I don't know if anybody needed them and picked them up. Test equipment, you can see old routers. There are always a lot of old routers at Hamfests, and of course a couple of HTs there. Let's keep going. There's a Drake, Kenwood. There's a nice old National, not the one I have, but also a similar chassis. And I wasn't exactly sure what this was. It's got a built-in oscilloscope and all sorts of other doodads, and I couldn't really tell.
That's probably
Some kind of
that's probably just a service monitor.
Might be, but it had a lot of other stuff on it, and I couldn't quite tell everything about what that one was for.
Yeah, it's got a deviation. I mean, I'm looking here. It's got a deviation meter, a scope, probably a spectrum scope, and probably a signal generator, and several things.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah. Anyway, more radios here. Another oscilloscope. A lot of old vinyl. As a matter of fact, this weekend in Denver, if anyone is in the Rocky Mountain region, there's another show where they're going to have a lot of vinyl. It's called the Vintage Voltage Expo. They're going to be doing that in downtown Denver. And that is specifically an antique radio and antique vinyl show. And they're going to have a lot more vinyl than you see here. But there were some interesting, if I had a turntable, I would have been tempted by this. A lot of interesting vinyl here. So let's see, what else do we have? Tube tester, Hammerland.
Don't you love all those old designs on those speakers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Nice looking oscilloscope. The Variacs are always very useful. This is an older Flex 5000 series. A lot of stereo gear at this show also. There's a big old power tube.
Yeah, that's a 400.
Mm-hmm.
Nice mixer.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yes, this caught my eye
SX111.
because this is in really good condition. I took a good long look at this one. Don't have room for it in my shack though.
There's your DX60.
Mm-hmm.
And a TSA 20.
Yeah. Lots of power supplies.
That was a good Hamfest, man.
We're just getting into it. Here's an AH4, which is one of the better antenna tuners out there. It's hard to use these unless you've got an ICOM radio. A couple of people, including Radio Dan W7RF, have little control boxes where you can manually control the AH4. But to get it to work automatically with the rig, you really need an ICOM rig.
Viroplex keys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a Swan VFO.
Yep, and lots of stuff under the tables too. Sometimes that's the best place to look at a Hamfest. Microphones.
Well, there's your Collins.
Oh, yeah. A lot of computer gear. Some of these were estates where the people who were selling them really didn't know how much they were worth, so they said, just make an offer.
Outstanding.
Here's the trap
Wow.
vertical. Big one. And back in the days when transmitters weren't so good, this was necessary.
Yeah, and that back in the days before digital TV too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
cable.
before most people had cable, right?
Yeah, cable really helped. Free.
Always the QST magazines. People sell their collections.
Mm-hmm. I usually have a couple on my table to give away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get offered them all the time by people who are running out of room on their shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I threw away hundreds of them here a while back.
Yep.
Yeah.
That and CQ.
So all sorts of stuff. A lot of transceivers. Lots of HTs because most hams, after a few years, have too many HTs.
Yeah.
Elecraft.
I probably have at least 5 HTs, and the one I prefer is my ancient ICOM 2AT.
Yeah, but it's almost useless now because they don't have tone in it.
That's true.
But it's still a good little radio
Yeah.
if you want to set
Oh,
up a
I
link
take
or
it back.
something.
Mine's now a Yaesu something.
What do we got there? Is that
Lots and lots of surface mount
okay? I was going to say, are those
capacitors
capacitor
all on
resistors?
tape for machines.
Yeah.
You got really good eyes. You can solder these in by hand.
Yeah, never mind. Mine's an ICOM IC T70A.
Mm,
So it's got all the tone and stuff.
yeah.
So here's your old dynamotor, a motor attached
Yep.
to a generator. Kenwood HT.
There's a Mirage amp. Nice.
Oh, yeah. And lots of tubes.
I threw away over 1,000 tubes when I moved
Oh,
about
geez.
20 years ago. They were in boxes like that too.
Yeah.
Here's the tester for the
That'd be
tubes.
worth
Well, one of
something.
them. There are a
Yeah,
lot of tube testers
They'd
there.
be worth
Oops.
it today. Are you starting over?
Okay. Let me get back to where we were. I clicked in the wrong spot.
Oh, okay.
So we might see a couple of things twice here.
Yeah.
Okay, there we are. Back about where we were. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, there's that Mirage amp again. Those are cool. Yeah, it's just about any tube you want you could find there if you dug deep enough.
Yeah, Mirage was another one of those companies that Martin at MFJ resurrected.
Yep. And this, the people who were
Oh,
selling
good
this
heavens.
couldn't figure out what it was. It had a voltmeter and an ammeter, and then it had a telephone dial. And they couldn't figure out why someone would put those things together.
That was
It's kind of a
probably
homebrew.
a piece of test equipment at one of the telephone exchanges back, in the 50s, 60s.
Yeah, because it
Could have
looks
been.
like you've got volume knobs there under the meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the seller couldn't tell me. He didn't know. He said it was from an
Would be-
estate.
Would be hard pressed. Would have to find a model number and manufacturer to Google.
It's an old signal generator, probably military. And this was on a pedestal was a 2 kilowatt linear amplifier.
That's kind of copying the Collins 30L1.
There's your
Lots
Heath
of
amp.
other amplifiers like the Ameritrons. I'm gonna miss those. They're of course. I don't think Martin's gonna be making those anymore. I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone's gonna buy the business.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And then there are the more eclectic tables that have all sorts of things on them. From SLR cameras to audio equipment to, I wasn't sure what that was. Lots of coax cable. And window line, toroids. Radial plates. Here's a pretty
Wow.
old Collins.
Looked in great shape.
Yeah. A whole bunch of more modern gear. Drake TR4 package. They had everything.
Oh, there's a nice scope with the voltmeter package.
Yep.
All right. For all of our
Yeah,
listeners on
looks like
shortwave,
465, 475.
for all of our listeners out on shortwave, we're looking at a walk around at Hamfest that Brett went to this weekend. So we're just identifying equipment and looking at it.
Yeah, that was a pretty big Hamfest there.
Oh, yeah. A lot of free stuff, too. And more tubes and also components from tube equipment. And I stopped to look at these tubes, and of course, you'll see my hand go in front of the camera as I take it out to look at it. Just a second here.
Love that old
Then I'll show
RCA Victor dog.
Yep. His master's voice.
That's right.
And there, my hand should move away from the camera in a second. Then there you can see they're new.
Wow.
And there's your All-American 5 right there.
I think I got one just
Yeah.
like it that I picked up at Hamfest.
Yeah. It's
Just
a
like
clock radio, but you
Yeah.
can tell it's the All-American 5 if you look at the back.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Well, no, it's similar.
Yep. And then lots of bags of components of various kinds. And on the right there, I'll see if I can put my cursor over it right here. It's interesting. Here's an Elecraft KX2, and this little device over here is about the equivalent of the KX2 and even a smaller package. It's a little teeny tiny CW transceiver, runs off of USB, and it's a kit. You just you take the circuit board, solder some components on it, and then layer together the case, which is 3D printed, and you have actually a really good CW rig. It's good for POTA, and that's pretty much it. That's what I have from that Hamfest.
Cool.
All right. Well, that was a good walk around. We saw a lot of things. I bet we see some of the same things on our walk around that we're going to do in just a minute. Did you buy anything there?
I was mostly browsing. I bought a couple of cables, but I didn't buy anything big at this particular one. I still have to organize my shack before I'm going to allow myself to put anything else in it.
Yeah, well, I bought one thing at the Corinth Hamfest, and it was a pinpointer. If anybody knows what a pinpointer is, it's when you do metal detecting, you got a deal. It's about like a flashlight, and then once you dig the hole and you throw the dirt in a pile, sometimes you may not know where the item is that your metal detector detected. So you take this little thing like a little flashlight, and it's called a pinpointer, and you just stick it around in the dirt, and it'll beep, and the end of it will be right where the find is. And I bought, the guy was selling it. It looks like an older pinpointer. When I first saw it, it reminded me of one of these metal detectors you see at the airport where they run around your body. It was kind of long. But it was a pinpointer made for metal detecting. So I picked it up. Well, not bad, $10, works. And I'm going to be going after some Civil War stuff here pretty soon. Well, Brett, hey, that was a good walk around. Thank you. Did you have more for that, or was that it?
That was it. Those were the 8 minutes worth of video that I captured.
Okay.
I didn't get video of the Elmer session because they had a screen that, way up at one end of the room. It was kind of hard to video everything that was going on. But that was a lot of fun too. I think more Hamfests should do it.
Okay. Let's see. I have some pictures. Well, I've got a video here. Glenn and I, of course, went to Corinth. Glenn, you're going to have to help me yell out things if you see anything here. So let me put it on here. Here we go. And Glenn is doing a form at 11 o'clock. I think on Arduino. That must be the wrong. Let's just do some walking around here. Oh, first the important part. No, they're about gone.
coffee.
They did give us donuts and sausage and biscuits today. Let's just see what we can find here. Oh, that looks like a dynamotor. 12 volt in, 120 out. You're going to be on a show Tuesday night, so say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
We got Harold, K5WHB, and Harold. What's your title to this?
I'm just an organizer for this.
An organizer, okay.
I don't take credit for anything and stuff.
If-
My hams for ham. We got Tishomingo Club, the Corinth Club, the Tupelo Club,
So you got several clubs all together here?
and they all just come in and pitch in.
All right.
Tupelo Club got the important. The Tishomingo Club, they provide us with a food vendor and just all the necessary things that we need. Everybody provides it, so it's been good.
All right. Well, it's been fun so far. My friends already bought something from every table.
Oh, that's
Maybe with the exception of you. We'll come back, okay?
I'm saving this to carry back.
Yeah. bunch of 2ATs. They're really extended battery. Those originally came with a short battery that's extended battery. This guy makes some beautiful antennas. These are all handmade. I think they're 6 meter. 6 meter or maybe.
I seen him around the bend. They said that you were. I said, well, I see where you got his name.
Hey, good to see you. I'll talk to you on the radio.
We just looking around.
You can pick up hand grenades here too. Now that one camp right there is only $90. When working with that,
But you know they come every year.
Android just opens up better apps for me. I do IT stuff, so I've got there's more apps that I can use on Android. And some of those apps maybe on my phone.
She already saw it. She already saw it. She's already talked on the radio. See, these little things like this, the fact that you have one that says Radio Shack, you know that their brand name, their Radio Shack, but you know what the brand name for their station is, right? I had 1140.
Yeah, it works. It just the functionality of the HF, the receive side, is what. Well, I don't think it's there either. Yeah. Well, no, there's a board that there's a mod board that you take out. You take out the FM chip and you put it in this other chip. Basically, there's a whole That's right.
Nice soldering station here.
Yeah, that section, that part above the soldering iron was a fume remover.
Or was it? Yeah. I thought at first it might have been a desoldering deal, but it wasn't. It
Right,
just had
no,
the
that
heat-
was
had
to,
the, yeah, had the air heat and the soldering iron.
Right, and that was just to suck up the fumes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'd never seen one that way.
There's another nice old National.
Yeah.
That looks like an old, is that a Helicrafter?
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
that's a 111.
You notice the speakers back then. The speakers were as big as the radio.
Yeah.
Yes, we did get it a little more organized this time, which felt good, and then walked the dog. We left at 1:45. Got some lunch and ready to get back to the cabin, get settled in before dark. My family's cabin, it's a union cabin on the other side of the wall. It's
If you know where 301 and 302 travels at, I'm talking about the block.
You're on the
Desktop microphones. I actually prefer the ones with the foot pedal.
I'm used to trying to get dressed for work, man.
Glenn, that guy's from Memphis. Isn't he?
He's a little aggravated right now.
Yeah, that's Keith.
Yeah.
Less than normal antenna. Yeah, he's on a.
We'll see him again this coming weekend.
I had a tough trouble on his Friday side. Yeah,
I guess there will be MFJ stuff in flea markets for years to come.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I asked a couple of my friends that lives to have a big yard. They've been good at responding.
Guys, in a little while, you to look at the amateur radio roundtable spot. We've got a nice tablecloth. We've got an apron that goes around our table. We've got a banner up. I think we had the best looking booth there. Didn't take anything to sell, but I did take one thing to try to get rid of, and that was that GMRS base station antenna that I bought here last year that we didn't use. Yeah, we should have won, right, Mark? We should have won the best booth prize. I'm going to suggest.
Yeah, I think the prize was a donut and free cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest that they have that next year. The best looking booth. Now that light, I started buying that light, guys. That's a light off of a ship. I don't know if that was their signal light or, you know.
Good old Billy the Bass.
Yeah. There's a 10, I think a 10 position antenna switch, man. I haven't seen one that big.
Yeah.
And that tuner is holding its price really good, man.
It really is.
You know, most everything.
Kenwoods have more buttons and knobs than any other radio.
Yeah. Everything seems to be pretty clean and you know, good looking. It wasn't a lot of anything dirty there. except maybe some eye bolts for a tower. That goes around your tower there to lift your antenna. It goes up and down the tower.
So that's a trolley for a real skinny tower.
I think it fits around 25.
This stuff here for you. Did you get a good picture of my little man standing up there? He guards it. This will be on our
Gnome.
Tuesday night show.
That's like the power supply that I won at Orlando year
Oh,
before
is that one right
last
there?
year. Yeah, that diamond.
Oh, okay. That thing was heavy.
Oh yeah.
All
It's a
these
40
things,
amp supply, at least
were
mine
marked
is.
demo. They were marked demo. I don't know why. Unless it's some company that has.
That's Fat Cat Parts or Fat Cat Electronics. He generally has everything tested and labeled.
Now here are two coming up. Let's see. Capacitor boxes, I think. I'm not sure why he had different prices. We'll see those in a minute. I've been wanting to build up a capacitor substitution box and a resistance substitution box. I just hadn't had time to get to it.
Yeah, back in the day, those things were incredibly handy.
There's the MFJ 926. I call it too.
Now, one of these days, I'd love to get myself a 998.
Yeah, that's what I got out here. I got the one where we put it remote. It's not the one. They've got two models of 998. One goes outside and one stays inside. I got the one that goes outside.
Yes, that's the one I'm looking for, the 998 RT.
So there we go. There's
your
the
substitutions.
capacitor substitution box. Now you got different prices on them. I don't know what the difference is. That is 35. That one is 25. I'm not sure what the difference was. This guy here is usually at most the local Hamfest. He'll be in Memphis, I think.
There's your Drake twins.
The Hamfest was supposed to be over at 4 o'clock, and it started clearing out quite early. Just right after lunch, it was starting to clear out a little bit.
Yeah, and a
That's
gentleman
why
in the
they-
back corner had radar, and it was looking really nasty for 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they held off on the big drawings until the end of the Hamfest to keep people there.
Well, the thing is, the main prize, you didn't have to be present to win. So I was hoping that was true because it had got down really low in numbers. I'm thinking, we got a good chance, man. But here's the kid. There's the boy right here, I think, that did the one on the left. He's the one that did the Rubik's Cube. A lot of tower.
Yeah, a lot of nice tower sections there.
There's the food truck. All right, so that's our walk around. That's our walk around, and we had fun there, and it was it was relatively close. We didn't have to drive a long ways.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see here.
And I had a few people show up for my forum, so it was
I had
good there.
none
We had
show up
fun.
for mine. Man, that place was clearing out fast, man.
Yeah, they
let's
had
see.
you in the afternoon, Everybody was trying to get out ahead of the weather.
I'm looking for. Oh, let me go back. I think that what I was looking for might be right here.
What are we looking for?
Well, I was going to look. There we go. I was going to get
There
the
you
picture,
go, yeah.
pull a picture up. Guys, notice we have a top, covering there. We've got our nice clean skirt that goes around our tables. We've got our banner, and there you go. Glenn and me just sitting there taking in the fun. Let's see what else is in this folder here. Oh, one thing I saw there, and I love this. This takes me back to the 1960s when I got my license. This is what we did for transmitters back then, and this is a little homebrew transmitter, and you can see the top here. Basically, that tube there is a sweep tube out of a TV. That's like something like a 6BQ6 or something like that, and a 5U4 rectifier over in the left top back there. That little other little tube here in the center, that's a voltage regulator tube. I forget the nomenclature. It's probably something like an OA2 or something like that. And then you can see the tank circuit and the meter, and very simple. I didn't pick it up and take any picture under the bottom, but that was a neat little homebrew transmitter. There, right there on the bottom right is where you put your crystal in.
The crystal socket.
Crystal socket, and you were rock bound right there. And it's a little clean little radio that was built, and I really liked it. Let's see what else.
What kind of receiver did you use with that?
Well, I had a Helicrafters SX 140, which was ham band only. It wasn't general coverage. It was 80 through 6 meters ham band only. Okay, I think that's all the pictures I had in that folder.
My friend had a Helicrafters SX 117 that I lusted after for years.
Yeah. Just quick while I got pictures going here. Guys, we're fixing to try to get another balloon launch off here pretty soon. And since we went dual band, 20 meters and 10 meters, we before we were 20 meters only, and we were using a 20 meter dipole. Well, when we went 10 meters, a 20 meter dipole won't work for 10 meters. So what we did, we have now gone in our next flight in a couple of weeks. We're going to be flying an in-fed, 20 meter in-fed antenna that's got some great matching for 20 and 10. This is a little toroid I wound. The toroid here is less than a gram. And you can see, the tape is actually holding the antenna wire. If you look, it's about the size of a hair. That's number 36 wire. That's about 33 and a half feet long. And that's a 49-to-1 balun. And man, on 20 meters, I had a match like 1.1 or 1.2. And on 10 meters, I had a 1.3. So that's where we've got it tuned for. We'll be flying that on our next flight. And typically the tracker sets, in the middle of the dipole, 17 feet below the balloon. Now the total antenna, the total in-fed 33-foot, in-fed 20-meter, in-fed full wave is going to be between the tracker and the balloon. So our tracker is going to float 33 feet, or actually about 35 feet below the balloon.
So how do you keep that all untangled when you launch the balloon so that it doesn't it doesn't kink and cause problems?
Well, of course, the platform with the solar cells and this and the tracker, it has a little bit of weight. The whole thing's going to weigh about 12 grams maybe total. the antenna that and then we have a very, very light fishing line that goes from there up to the balloon. It's 35 feet long. And in that antenna, see the little number 36 wire there, it follows up that string all the way up to the balloon. And what we do, about every foot, we tie a knot in the string around the antenna wire and pull it kind of tight. So about every foot, that wire goes through a knot in that string that goes all the way up to the balloon. So that's how and it just, the tracker hangs below. We're not going to have anything below other than I will be running a small counterpoise, but a 20-meter counterpoise is only 0.05 times the wavelength. And 0.05 times 20 meters is right about a foot long. So the counterpoise is just going to hang below the tracker by about a foot and nothing else down here. Normally we had 17 feet of dipole hanging below, but I am going to have about a 1 foot counterpoise that hangs below. Well, you can see right there, our whisper frequency is 140956. And well, that looks pretty good. That says 1.0 right there. 1.0.
Nice.
With a resistance of 48 ohms. We got a little bit of reactance, about 4 ohms of reactance, but that's a really good match right there for 20 meters. This is typically some of the styrofoam that we would use to glue the solar cells onto. We're trying to hold the weight down. So we're using styrofoam, and we'll cut out underneath the solar cells just to reduce that weight. And I know Mark is working on some 3D printed NASA type design stuff to see if he can get us a little platform to replace the styrofoam. But the last one he printed up was just the little base was about 4 grams. And these bases here weigh around 2 grams. And the one at the very top there actually weighs 1.4 grams total. So don't know if we're going to be able to 3D print something or not that's lighter. But that's kind of what we got going, and we'll have it launched going in probably about a week and a half.
Yeah, you might be able to use the kind of foam they use for egg cartons.
Well, I've tried all kinds of stuff like that. You know, that's pretty heavy stuff. That's more like a thick cardboard, and I've tried everything. I've tried styrofoam paper plates. You know, you know how thin a paper plate is. You cut that out. I've used that before. I tell you, you can't beat styrofoam. Styrofoam is about the lightest thing you're going to get, and it's pretty easy to work with too. You know. Let's see. The last balloon we launched, we were trying to get it around the world for the Russellville Ham Radio Club over there, and we had a lot of trouble going through Ukraine. We were going through Ukraine for about 2 days. Ukraine and Russia. They were jamming the GPS over there. They were spoofing the GPS. It was telling us that the tracker was everywhere where it was not. It was telling us that it was on the ground in Crimea, and we knew it wasn't. And finally, we got out of there, and we were going across Kazakhstan, and going pretty slow through Kazakhstan, right at the border of Kazakhstan and Russia. And after about 2 days, it was just the winds were slow. The winds were like 8 miles an hour. I mean, it's like walking, man. after a couple days in Kazakhstan, it didn't report anymore, so it came down for some reason. We don't know why, but it didn't quite make it to China. But we're getting this one ready to replace it, to go around again. One of the interesting things was we were letting people track it on APRS. And if you're familiar with APRS, that shows your location and so forth. And that's one of our tracking sites. But the owner of APRS took it down while we were going over the war zone. The owner of APRS lives in Finland, and that's where the server is. And they were a little worried about the Russians, since I think they border Russia there. So they took
Finland
it down.
does.
They what? Yeah, they took it down, and so we weren't getting the APRS reports. We could still see it on Sunday Hub and also on Whisper. But anyway, as I've been testing a new one, APRS is up. I think he just blocked anybody that was going through Russia or Ukraine. I think that's the ones that he had blocked somehow. Normally we don't go that way. Normally we cross the ocean and we cross at the Straits of Gibraltar, and we'll go across northern Africa, and then we'll probably hit Israel, and then we'll cross like in Iran, and we'll go through there typically. But this time, for some reason, we took the north route across England and went into Ukraine. One thing different on this flight, the UK has changed their law. We used to have geofencing turned on where we would not transmit over Ukraine. No, we wouldn't transmit over Yemen, the UK, and North Korea. The UK has now allowed air, nautical, manned and unmanned, to have radio communications or radio transmissions now. So if we go across England, the UK again this time, we'll have tracking. And see, that's another thing. We had our tracking off as we went across the UK. We turned our tracking off for about a day as we went through there. And if we'd gone through at night, tracking would have been off anyway. But I think we went through it a day, so we didn't hear from it for about a day and a half or 2 days, just because it went through the UK. But that's been fixed in our software. So anyway, that's our story, and sticking to it. Let's see. Well, it's 9:35. It's about time. Did I have anything else? Let's see. We talked about the Hamfest and the InFed, dual band. I think we got it all tonight. So, guys, thanks for joining us tonight, and come back next week, Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Just go to w5kub.com and join us in the chat room and join us for the show again. We're so glad you joined us tonight. We'll say 73 to everybody out there in the chat room, and good night to everybody, and see you next week. You've been watching Amateur Radio Roundtable, a show about ham radio, shortwave, amateur radio, electronics, and other things similar. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
7-3.
All right, let me see if I can turn it off.